So this screencast is looking at measuring anxiety. We've looked at the different types of anxiety, and we know that being able to predict somebody's level of trait anxiety could help us predict how they will react within a situation. So now we need to know how we measure it. So we're looking at 3 different means: physiological measures, observations, and questionnaires. Examples of these, so if we're looking at physiological measures, things like heart rate and muscle tension. Observation, as it says in a nutshell, observing individuals within a competitive or sporting environment. And then our questionnaires are the STAI, or the State Trait Anxiety Inventory, the SCAT, the Sport Competition Anxiety Test, or the CSAI2, Competitive State Anxiety Inventory 2. So if we look at each one then, there are problems with each method that we need to note. So physiological measures put the performer in an artificial situation, quite often being wired up to devices to test heart rate, etc., make them more anxious because they aren't natural reactions. They worry about what the results might show, so that it isn't a very valid means of measuring anxiety. Observations, we're looking for changes in symptoms. They do tend to take place in artificial environments. They're set up for individuals to be able to arrive at a session, etc. But on the other hand, you can imagine it is quite hard to notice any increases in, say, sweat or nausea or just feeling uncomfortable, and it's purely based on a person's perception of what they are observing. And finally, our questionnaires. So same with all other questionnaires, we don't know if they're a true reflection when they're answering. Self-report questionnaires are popular ones because they're cheap and easy to administer, and the evaluations are relatively accurate. So they are popular, they do have their highlights. However, can we guarantee that our performers are providing their true feelings or providing us with truthful answers? So our main focus is questionnaires, and we know that we use those 3 specific ones to measure anxiety. So we'll start with State Trait Anxiety Inventory. This one is a self-report questionnaire. People rate how nervous they feel in general and specific situations. And for this one, the scoring system provides results for both state and trait anxiety. That is one that you can have a go at during next lesson. The SCAT, this one is slightly more specific to sporting situations. So it's looking to develop an idea of competitors who are likely to become anxious within a competitive situation. So I guess you could kind of use it for a talent ID situation, etc. This one is specific to sports, and it's specific to state anxiety in those competitive situations. And our final one to know before we arrive at the lesson. This one again is a self-report, and we're measuring 3 components of anxiety: cognitive state, somatic state, and self-confidence, specifically in competitive situations. For this one, you tend to have it a number of times throughout a period, so they can look at changes in your levels of anxiety. So you tend to have it before a competition when you're quite calm, in the coming days up to a competition, just before a competition, and also after a competition. So you go from a baseline and compare the changes that occur within the self-report for the individual. So nice easy one, make those notes, bring those to the lessons. There are some extra notes to note about specific questionnaires. You will have a go at each one, and then we'll start to kind of look at the results of each one in slightly more depth.